peeking. Well, while you are numbing down, I have not heartbreaking news, but I have an unfortunate repair now on my list in my house. My dishwasher stopped working.
No.
It's just like I was out here and it was like, okay, cool. I'm going to turn the thing on and head to bed. I pushed the button and nothing happened. I was like, oh. And I did all the reading and basically like I tried everything. No door obstruction. The breaker's fine. And they're like, blah, 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 some kind of switch should be accessible from under the sink. And I went under there and I was like, there's no switch. I was being catfished. I was like, where are you?
Were those instructions from gaslighting.com?
.net actually, but yes.
.net.
You're right. I should have put that together. So, now I got to figure out which appliance repair shop is reputable. And I found one and I was like, hey, what's your like service charge? And they're like, oh, we don't like do house calls. Like you bring it to us. Like usually. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to do that.
No. Do you think there's somewhere in the country or in the world, there's a repairman who works on hot water heaters and his business is called gaslighting?
No, because I bet the Better Business Bureau is like, oh,
I don't know about this.
Yeah, anyway. So, but even the guy on the phone and I agreed, he was like, that's not really an urgent repair though, is it? And I was like, no, I mean, I've been hand washing.
Depends on what you mean by urgent.
Yeah. I mean, like I know how to wash dishes. So it's like, I'll just hand wash my dishes and it's been kind of nice. But
yeah, sure.
Like right now they're just in the sink soaking. It's kind of cool. And then I'll wash them after we're done. So
the thing about hand washing dishes, I mean, I guess it depends on how many you're washing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it takes more intense physical like focus and stuff, but like in my experience, it's shorter than the dishwasher, or maybe I just have a really long dishwasher cycle, but like, I'm like, so it doesn't take as long. Like if I need something post haste, I can have it quickly, but
yeah. And I mean, like
I just have to do it.
Half our dishes get hand washed anyways, because it's like cookware or, stuff that's not really, meant to be in the dishwasher. So it's just doing that for everything and then putting it away and changing out the drying mat. So
I found a lot of like kids, like cups and bowls and stuff are not dishwasher safe. You have to like really search for the ones that are.
Man.
And I'm like, I'm not washing 1,000 little spoons, bro. Or whatever it is.
I remember being in like the depths of having infants and just washing bottles constantly. Just every day, at the end of every day was, okay, wash like 8 bottles
bottle time
with a bottle brush, and then all their little bottle seal ring caps things and the thing, and then the rubber seal, and then the actual nipple and spout, and you're just doing that, and you're like, God.
Yep.
And I'll just do it. Yeah, you don't even put them away in the morning. You're just like, I'm just gonna pull them off the mat.
Whatever. Yeah, it's done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so I gotta figure that out. God knows what the problem is with that, but worse things could have broken in the house though. Like it could have been my fridge. So
or your legs.
Or my Hey, you know what could have happened to the house? It could have gotten sucked up in a tornado.
Talk
about twisters.
The once-in-a-generation tornado outbreak continues across Oklahoma.
We've never seen tornadoes like this before, and we need your help.
No, I don't chase anymore.
Kate, we can save lives.
I'll give you 1 week.
All right, fellas. We got PhDs from NASA, FEMA, and Kate, she's the smartest person I know.
Hey, dudes. This is interesting. Who are they?
It's Tyler Owens. Calls himself a tornado wrangler. If you feel it!
Scared of nothing and I'm scared to death.
Our crew is not like your crew.
I can't breathe and I catch my breath.
We don't need PhDs and fancy tech. Sometimes the old ways are better than the new.
Well, you can always trust a guy who puts his face on a t-shirt. Are those fireworks?
Yes, ma'am. You got quite the reputation, city girl. You think you can disrupt a tornado.
In theory.
But in the field, in the moment, I got it wrong.
We never had a chance.
You want one?
Are you seeing this?
We got twins! Twins!
They're combining.
Go faster.
Let's ride. It's all right to be scared. Fear's the reason you do it. You don't face your fears, you ride them.
Holy.
You ever see anything like this?
Not like this.
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
So I watched the original film over the weekend for the first time, actually.
Okay.
In preparation for nothing, because I'm not going to be able to see this one in theaters.
Yeah, sure.
But, I just thought it might serve me, and by golly, it did.
Okay. So you said for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what are your overall thoughts? It's because I'm interested, because everybody I talk to about this movie is so like head over heels for it. But I think my theory is a lot of it is nostalgia.
Oh, it's got to be, because this Twister isn't very good.
Okay.
It's really, 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 really mid for me.
That's exactly my experience. Yes.
Yeah. And I get that, like, if you like the movie for nostalgic reasons, but it doesn't do much for me on a first watch, whatever, 25 years later, 30 years later. I mean, this was event filmmaking in the 90s,
Yep.
And I read somewhere that like the effects were groundbreaking. Maybe. I mean, were they?
They were.
They don't look as good as
in their own way.
Just to pull from your hat here real quick, like the movie was made 3 years after Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park looks better than Twister. So
yeah, totally.
I don't know. I guess. I know, just some of those shots, the Twister, it just like appears immediately. It's almost like they just turned on the layer, and and it's like, okay, I know this is a movie, but even movie tornadoes don't form instantly like that.
Right, sure.
So Twister was whatever. You know what bothered me though? I want you to get one guess. I want you to guess what the thing that bothered me.
Something that bothered you
for the entire film. What's my big pet peeve?
Is it a performance issue?
Not precisely.
Is it the overlapping dialogue that's nonstop wall to wall?
Close. It's the fact that the fucking entire movie is ADR.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep.
It was terrible. And they're just, it's just a huge pet peeve of mine. And like the whole movie, it's almost like someone dropped their sound equipment in the potty on the last day and lost all their sound.
Yep.
Like 3 months of looping.
Yes.
So I don't know. I just, I mean, I'll say this real quick. I recently watched also for the first time, which came out after this actually, As Good as It Gets.
Okay.
Which Helen Hunt is also in. Mm-hmm. And this was like right at the time where she was like blowing up. Yeah. And there's a good reason. Helen Hunt is great. Yeah. Helen Hunt is charming, is adorable, is charismatic. I love Helen Hunt, especially in As Good as It Gets. But everything else really about this didn't do it for me. And that's how I feel about Twister.
Okay, so I've seen Twister about 16,000 times, and I felt like it was on TBS like 5 times a week, every week in the 90s. And so I just always saw bits and pieces here and there. And like, have I watched it in its entirety in a very long time? No, probably just once. But like, I've seen it so many times, pieces here and there. Yeah, so I rewatched it in preparation for Twisters. And yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, this is just really kind of mid. So I gave it 3 stars. Like, it's fine, but it doesn't do anything extraordinary to me. Like, nothing that's, gonna stick with me. Although, I mean, I can't say that. Like, obviously the film has stuck with me, but I think it's because of repetition rather than actually memorability.
Merit.
Is that a word? Memorableness. Yeah. It doesn't earn the fact that it has stuck with me. It's more just because I was exposed to it repeatedly in formative years. And like, there's a lot that I enjoy about the film. Like, I enjoy Helen Hunt's performance, and I enjoy Bill Paxton, although he's like hamming it up, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, he's not great in this movie, but that's part of the charm, I guess. But like, what I really like about it is the physical effects, like the actual, like, anytime there's sparks and like cool, like buses moving and like, things are like billboards are flying and like things that are real.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that. And I think this film is really good in that regard. When it forgoes that and uses just CG or like, VFX to do the same thing, it feels really dated. But the actual,
the cow.
Yeah, especially the cow. The miniatures and like all those kind of things, like that's all still fine. I mean, obviously, I know what it is. I know what I'm looking at. But at the same time, I'm also like, it's fine. Like, this is really of its time and it's charming in its own way. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it's really like middle of the road. And so, again, we'll compare it to Jurassic Park, which was a few years earlier, and also based on something by Michael Crichton. Right. Jurassic Park just kind of does everything better. The mixture of physical effects and also visual effects. And like, it's, I don't know. It's just, it's exactly what this movie should have been. Like a nice, fun romp, but like even the score isn't memorable. Like, one of the things about Jurassic Park, and maybe this is the Spielberg effect, is you have the John Williams score that really drives that thing. And like, for me, like when I look at it, like there's a lot of people who really love Twisters because obviously it's a part of their childhood and it's nostalgia and all that. Like, that's what Jurassic Park is to me. So like, anybody who wants to level criticism at Jurassic Park, now I'm like, you're wrong, because it's an important film and it's important to me. And people have the same reaction to Twister, but I genuinely don't. Like, it just is what it is. It's middle of the road. It's fine. It's inoffensive, but it's also just, it's just there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I understand in 1996 where you're like, oh, a movie about like, like a localized disaster movie, basically, I get it. But it's just, and maybe if I'd seen this as a kid, that's what nostalgia is. I mean, that's why I go back and watch movies that are 20 years old. I like to separate, like, did I just like this because I was young, or was this actually a good movie? And
right, sure.
I feel like no matter how I'd feel about if I'd seen Twister, when I was 10, no matter what, I would come back to it after this viewing and go, really not that much there at all.
Well, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Like, if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, like, how do you feel about Twister? I'd say pretty favorable. Like, it's a good movie. But now I'm like, it's an okay movie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
So like when they announced that they were making like a sequel to it, like a standalone, whatever, sequel, soft read, whatever it is. I was a little surprised because it was like, oh, I haven't thought about Twister like at all. Like it's not like,
and forever.
It's not like I mean, was there was a Twister ride at one point, wasn't there? At
Universal Studios, it was an attraction. It was like a walkthrough attraction, and you like stop in this room, and they do the practical effects of like the billboard flying and sparks and all that stuff. And so like that's super cool. I was like, oh, lightning, great, cool.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. It was a neat little show.
What is that's not
Charming.
still there, is it?
It's not still there.
Okay. I was going to say, like, understandably, like, okay, if like the ride is still super popular, like, you know what I mean? Like if there's like no cultural, Helen Hunt isn't having like a huge, like, crazy award-winning turn on some HBO drama that gets people thinking, we should look back at her career. What should we revisit of hers? What, it's like, there's no reason to do any of this.
Right.
But for some reason, what studio is this? Universal? Is this also Universal?
I believe so.
Yes, Universal and Warner Brothers.
Okay.
Again.
Well,
that's right. Okay. It was joint. This other one was too.
Oh yeah.
I guess they have joint rights to it. Anyways, they were like, "Hey, let's do something here." And I don't know. I don't want to talk out of school about how it came about, but I just know that Glenn Powell is hot right now, and I just wonder if someone asked him what he wanted to do, and he was like, "I love Twister."
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's very possible. To me, like it's not, but it feels like one of those movies that like you could see happening if Twister got really popular during the quarantine, and like everybody watched it on streaming, and so some executive was up there chomping a cigar going, you know what's popular right now, guys? Twister. We're going to make another one. What ideas you got?
Well, and you know what? I'll say this one more time because you're the one who saw the film and I didn't, but I'm guessing, I can only guess that in whatever boardroom this decision was made, they had assistants poring over, stuff and said, look for any property that could possibly have any relevance today. And someone's job was to go through weather-related movies because of climate change. And they were like, Twister. Tornadoes are worse. It's
sure.
Okay, good for you. You're fired.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
This is my idea now.
Right.
All right. So walk us through Twisters then.
Yeah. So to your point, I don't believe they ever mentioned climate change in the film.
Well, there goes
so there goes your theory. But yeah, so Twisters is a sequel, but not really to Twister. I'll come back to the title. I want to talk about the title, but as you mentioned, it stars Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones, a whole bunch of other people, and it's directed notably by Lee Isaac Chung, who you may remember from Minari.
Minari, yes.
Yeah. So, kind of an unexpected choice for this. Story by Joseph Kosinski.
I saw that too. Maybe that's the Glenn Powell connection. I don't know.
It could be. But yeah, so Twisters is really the story of Daisy Edgar Jones's character, whose name is Kate, and Kate is a storm chaser. And at the beginning of the film, she has a really bad day, and it results in some fatalities.
Oh,
so
that is a bad day.
Yeah, that's a bad day. So she kind of leaves the storm chasing life behind, and then is called back to it by an old friend, and in the process meets what's his face, Glenn Powell's character, Tyler. Tyler is also a storm chaser, but he's a YouTuber, so he's like doing it for the thrill and for the views, and it doesn't seem to be any like there's no altruism to it. Whereas Kate is like, I'm studying Twisters because I want to be able to stop them from happening and save lives. And so, there's like a more righteous pursuit on her end. And then the story just kind of progresses as they chase these storms and form a relationship with one another. Kind of learning more about each other as the film goes on. Here's what I'll say. Like overall, it is better than Twister, but only marginally. Like I think it's a better made film. But The problem with it is it still seemed to keep me at arm's length for some reason. And that's no fault to Daisy Edgar Jones or Glenn Powell. I think there's something in the script that kind of kept me away from the characters, like from really latching on. And I don't know what it was. I'll probably continue soul searching to see if I can figure out what this is. And I'd be interested in another watch of it just to study it. Cause I found myself engrossed in it. I was having fun with it, but it's ultimately just not one that I think I'm going to like revisit for fun a lot or maybe ever. Like I said, I'd watch it to study it, but I don't think I'd ever watch it just for fun again. It is what it is. It's exactly what you want. It's twisters and they form quickly. They're chased and then they dissipate. And then another one forms and it's chased and then it dissipates. Again, it's a good movie. It's a fun movie, but it's only marginally better than an okay movie, if that makes sense. So whatever word is between okay and good, that's what this is. So Twisters, I want to talk about the title because the title is a little misleading, right? If you think about like Alien and Aliens, Aliens is named that because in Alien, there was an alien, and in Aliens, there's more than one alien. This has no reason to be called Twisters because there was more than one Twister in the first Twister, and there's more than one Twister in this Twister. So I don't understand why it's called Twisters. Additionally, the film really is not a sequel, and it's not really a reboot. I don't know what this is. It's almost an anthology at this point. Like this is just other people doing other storm chasing at another point in time.
Sure.
There is no connection to Twister. I think leading up to it, I had like jokingly texted you all, and this actually ended up in my Letterboxd review, that like if Bill Paxton was alive, there would be a scene where they go and visit him, but they don't do that here because obviously Bill Paxton's passed away, and
right.
I guess we don't do that with female protagonists. So there's no connection. I kept waiting for the connection, and there's no connection. I don't know. Like honestly, this could have been called like Twister: A New Hunt. Or something. Like it could have been completely different if they had to keep the Twister name. But the truth is, obviously Twister brought, like the name Twister brought people to the theater, right? It's doing very well. But creatively, there's no reason for this to be associated with Twisters or with Twister at all.
Right.
It could just be called Girl Chases Storms.
Storm
and
Girl.
That could be the Storm Girl. That could be this movie, and it would have been fine. So I don't understand why. There's no connection, so I don't understand why we're banking on that, except for the fact that it's had a pretty good opening weekend, and so that's why they're banking on it. But there again, I think just adding an S to Twister was not the right way to go. They should have done Twister: A New Saga.
Right.
Twister: The Glenn Powell story, whatever it is. But it doesn't, so that bugs me. But look, again, the movie is inoffensive. But here you go. It's a movie.
And that's the thing. Like sometimes it's like, that's exactly what I want. I want something uncomplicated. But I always fall back to the opinion that like, if that's all a movie's going to be, then why make it?
Sure.
Without the obvious answer of money. It's like, it's good that it's not like horrible. Like, oh, wow, what a misstep.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you could have misstepped Twister.
Yeah.
It's the expectation should be that it's like has something to say and is relevant somehow. And like you watch it and you go, oh, that was entertaining. And like, I see why they felt the need to update it. But like, without any of those elements in play, it's just a mid-level movie, which is fine. It's just, it's like, I can't think of a good example in nature. But it's like, it's like sharks. It's like, it's good that they exist, but I don't want any more of them.
Yeah. Right.
Like it's fine. I can accept a mid-level movie, but let's turn off the mid-movie machine.
Right.
We're full.
Yeah.
We're at capacity.
Yeah, we're done with that.
There's
we
so
can't
many
take any
movies
more of these.
that are just okay, that being just okay, it's like worse than being terrible. Like we can't even make fun of your movie or like talk about its shortcomings. We just go, that was kind of neat.
Okay.
And then 10 years from now, we're going to go, hey, remember there's a Twister sequel?
Yep.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's weird. I'm curious to see what longevity this has, because obviously Twister has endured for whatever reason. Again, my theory on that is because it was played on TV every 5 seconds. Everyone just grew up with it. Because of the nature of streaming and the world right now.
Yeah.
Will this have that same effect? I don't know. I kind of don't know. Like it reminds me of, I don't know if you remember this in the 90s. I guess this would have been late 90s when the Iron Giant came out.
Yeah.
It was not very well received financially.
Yeah.
Like it didn't do well at the box office. But Cartoon Network was a really early supporter of the film. And when they got the rights to play it on television, they did 24 hours of the Iron Giant. And it was like every few months they'd play it for 24 solid hours.
Wow.
And so I remember there were days where like, that's the first time I saw the Iron Giant was on Cartoon Network. And then like, it would just continue. It would just like repeat. And then I'd get so frustrated after a while because I'm like, I just want to watch Dexter's Lab or
something
whatever.
Else.
But the only thing that's on is Iron Giant. And like, but I firmly believe had it not been for Cartoon Network doing that, the Iron Giant would be like a film that no one has ever heard of today. Because it just would have like completely disappeared.
Yeah.
And I think Twister is a little bit that same way. I mean, obviously it has the backing of Steven Spielberg and whatnot, but like take all that away. I don't know that Twister would have been remembered had it not been for it being on TV every 5 seconds and in everybody's VHS. Like everybody had this on VHS. I don't even know how like everybody had this, but like every person I knew had Twister on VHS. And it was just like, here you go. We got Twister. And if there's ever a dull moment, put in Twister. And it was just like, it's just a weird movie. I don't know. I don't know. Does every generation have this where it's just like there's one movie that like everybody has and nobody hates? And then like every adult in your life loves this movie for some reason. And you watch it a million times as a kid and then, okay, I guess that's a movie.
I don't know. I talk all the time about how good Small Soldiers is. Speaking of late 90s movies,
sure.
And no one outside of our friends listens to me.
Sure,
that's not true. There's a handful of people who've been like, "Oh yeah, Small Soldiers fucks." It's like it's real good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it's just one of those like collective consciousness things. Like we just decided that Twister was like a classic, even though it's not that great. And it's just because of its ubiquity, but not necessarily because of its quality.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I will say this too about Twisters, and then I'm done. I did not realize that David Corenswet was in this. So I spotted him and I was like, oh, that's Superman. The new Superman is in this movie. So I've now seen him act, and cool. I'm cool.
Good.
That works.
Oh, Kiernan Shipka's in this movie too.
Yes. And Maura Tierney and Katie O'Brien, who's having a little bit of a moment. And yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Katie O'Brien.
Yeah. So anyway, there's Twisters, marginally better than Twister. Is it worth seeing in a theater? Sure, why not? Like, go for it. Like, but pay a matinee price maybe, or just make sure you're going with some friends and you can have a good time with them. I saw this last night, and apart from my brother, I was the only person in the theater. So it was like a private screening, and it was fine, and we were just like talking through it, so that did make it more enjoyable. So if you're able to do something like that, go for it. But like
for a Sunday night, that's kind of weird.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? So, but yeah, HBO Max, I'm sure will have this before long, and you can stream it to your heart's content.
There you go.
There you go.
Stream it to your heart's content. Okay, then. That's it. That's it for this one. We're gonna spin right off.
Hey.
Whee!